Hi there. Are we recording this? This is Dutu's sonatine for flute, and I wanted to play a little bit of that today for you because it is critical in this edition of Guide to Performing. Now, the reason I want to talk about that, and I should mention we are on location here with just a few minutes before we perform as Sonic Escape. We're in beautiful Biloxi, Mississippi, and this here is the Sanger Theater that you're seeing in the background. My name is Sean Wyckoff. I'm happy to be with you today. Now, I wanted to address some of the most common questions we get, which is how do I do well in a competition, or specifically, how do I get into Juilliard? That's a question we hear all the time. Now, I'm going to talk about it from my personal experience. So obviously, I can't guarantee a result of getting into Juilliard, much less, of course, anyone can't really unless you bribe a teacher maybe, but that's another thing. I don't know if you can do that, so I won't talk on that. Anyway, I can't guarantee results. I can only guarantee that this advice I'm going to give you is really going to help you if you do your absolute best to do that. So the first thing I want to mention, the first tip, is to pick a piece. For your optional piece, usually they're required pieces, Bach, Mozart, things like that. People like that, I should say, even though they've passed. So the piece that you pick, that should be something dear to your heart, something that you really identify with as a performer, that you can perform in your sleep, that you have done so many times, you know every little curve about that piece, and you bring something special to it. It should feel like something that where you think no one in history has ever played this piece as well as you have. That's my belief on it. So I know a lot of my friends who thought that way about, no one's ever heard the Paganini like this before. Well, maybe the world has, but it doesn't matter. You have to think that you're bringing something special to it. And so that was my piece. I used it to audition for, I believe, 8 music schools, and I used it at Juilliard. And so I think I want to address something that I hear a lot, which is a lot of people take pride in playing many different pieces and learning so many things. That's incredible, and of course you should do that, and you should do that throughout doing this, which is what I'm going to recommend. Learn that one piece cold. Really, really lay into that one piece so that that one piece really represents you. It shows that you have an incredible heart, that you have incredible personality on your instrument, that you're passionate about music. It should almost represent your goals and career aspirations, everything in that one piece. That's how you have to think of it. That's what I think. So really pick that piece carefully. Make sure you're doing it for yourself, not for anyone else. It should be a piece that you love and identify with. Step number 2. How do you do a 2? Like this. That's my 2. Step number 2. This is a very big one. Play that piece a million times over. Play it wherever you can. If no one's going to pay you to perform it, which they may not, then you go to your church and you play it. You go to a nursing home and play it. Library. Play it at your parents' corporate party. Play it when the dogs gather in the park. See if the dogs approach your sound or if they run away. Because I've heard sometimes animals like one person's playing, but they don't like the other people's playing. So you never know. So play it a million times. That's the key. Just play it as often as you can. And nowadays, it's really easy to record yourself, obviously, with a smartphone. So just do that. Film yourself a million times over, and especially in the performance. You have to film yourself performing. So you know what your tics are. How do you move? How do you speak? Can the audience hear what you're trying to do from a distance? That's really important. And try to get a good sound source as well, so you can record with a close microphone as well as a far microphone. I definitely recommend that. And this should be done years in advance of the audition that you're thinking of. Hopefully 1, 2, even 3 years ahead of time, you start figuring out which piece you're going to play and playing it many times, performing it especially as many times as you can. All to lead up to not your audition, but before your audition, step number 3. This is my biggest piece of advice, and it also happens to be Maria's biggest piece of advice, the violinist from Sonic Escape. You want to go to New York and schedule a lesson with a teacher of your choice. And this is before the audition, several months, even a year before the audition. You want to make that trip. And the reason you want to do it, you want to play perhaps that piece, perhaps another piece, but you want to show that teacher who you are, why you're special, why your personal story is so special. You're showing who you are. You're standing out from the rest of the crowd. I think when I auditioned for Juilliard, there were about 180 flutists that tried out. That's a lot of flute. If you've ever been in a warm-up room, which believe me, I have, it is not my favorite time. One time at an audition, there was a hall like this, and there were flute players warming up all through the hall with separate music stands. I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 of them. That's a lot of flute. So keep that in mind. You want to be able to stand out from the rest of the crowd. You do that by presenting a piece really well, being very on time for your lesson. They're going to charge a fee for it. That's fine. You have to pester your parents. We really need to go up, stay in a scuzzy hotel in New York if you have to. Do whatever you have to do to make that trip. Train, car, plane, whatever. People have done it before you, and you can do it, even though I know it takes a lot of money. It takes some investment. But I really hope that you do that because it will really pay off in the long run. And I think that who knows what it did for me, but I did do that in advance. I went and played for Jeannie Baxdresser, and she said, "Honey, I knew you were a musician just from seeing me outside her apartment," and that made me so happy. Jeannie, why did you think that about me? I still don't know, but I was happy. It felt great. Maybe you'll get a comment like that too, but regardless, the teacher's going to know you. So there you are, the 3 steps. Pick a piece. 2, perform it as many times as you can and record it and film it. 3, head to New York and schedule a lesson with a teacher at Juilliard or a choice of your school. Yep, I think that's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Guide to Performing. See you next time.